Yes, you should passionately want what you like, because liking is preference. I like this. I really, really want what I like, as opposed to I want this, and if I don't get this, I won't have it. No, what I'm wanting is to have what I like. But hey, I'm happy right now. And that's another foundation of the Mars Venus material, is never look to your partner to make you happy. If you don't look to them to make
Yeah,
you
it's not going to
happy,
happen.
that's not going to happen. But you
Right.
can look to your partner to make you happier. See, that's vulnerability. I need my partner. I need her love. I need the great sex. I need the companionship. I need the encouragement. I need the inspiration. I need all that to become more of who I am. But I don't need that to be myself. That's independence and also dependence. It's balancing the masculine and feminine inside of us.
Welcome to Letting Go and the Greatest Secret, where we explore the end of your suffering and the beginning of lasting happiness. I'm Hale Dwoskin, and today we'll be talking with John Gray, who is a featured teacher along with me in Rhonda Byrne's The Secret. John Gray is the author of the most well-known and trusted relationship book of all time, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. John helps men and women better understand and respect their differences in both personal and professional relationships. His approach combines specific communication techniques with healthy nutritional choices that create the brain and body chemistry for lasting health, happiness, and romance. Today, we'll be touching on a wide range of topics, from cleaning up cow patties all over your house to the power we tap when we use our higher intelligence.
So good to be with you. And for those that don't know, I wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and how does the Sedona Method. And it's very, very resonant with my work in terms of how to deal with the things that keep us from being our true self. You know, on one level, the Mars Venus ideas help us to interpret reality correctly so that we can be more smooth. But when we don't interpret reality, like when a man goes to his cave and you think he doesn't love you, that pushes your buttons. How do you deal with those feelings? Well, those feelings are only partially true. And we have to never believe our negative feelings, but embrace them like a divine child inside. And I'm using different words, but in the Sedona method, Hale has got it down. You go into the feelings and you flow with the feelings, go before the feelings, and you always come back to yourself. It's a train ride back to your authentic self. And we are grateful for the things that trigger us, because it helps us to get in touch with those clouds that keep the sun from shining.
Right, right. Well said. Well said. I know that your work goes way beyond the secret. So, in your estimation, what is the gift that is in both the secret and the greatest secret that you want to bring forward to people?
Well, I like both. And I wouldn't say my work goes beyond. It's just the secret, the whole ideas of the secret is so much truth there. But like I said, partial truth. It doesn't talk about everything around it. You also have to do. It's like you never start a journey unless you have a positive expectation. You know, why would I go anywhere without having positive thinking?
Right.
But when you start your journey, everything inside of you is going to come up that keeps you from being on that positive journey. And Sedona technique, as my approach, helps us to process those obstacles so that we can keep going. And as we radiate more of our true self, which is what the secret talks about, the world will reflect that back. I just have so much abundance in my life. The more I grow in love, the more love I have, the more success I have, the more peace I have. And life can be that if we work on it. There's work to do. And people like you, people like me, other great, great teachers today, they teach us you got to do the work. You can't just think positive. It takes work to think positive, and you got to embrace all that you are. And then this new book that you're talking about, I also received that in the mail. It was wonderful to read that book. And what I like most about it, Hal, which is why I'm happy to do this interview, is because you're in it. And your message is in it. That's the practicality of it. You can read all of the spiritual teachers of the universe. It always inspires us, always connects us to what's true, and that's very, very good. When you start hearing, the aspect of consciousness is that which perceives all that the mind is. And we're really not the mind, but the consciousness is the source of the mind, and therefore we're not the mind and we're not the consciousness. That's just what is. And there's an isness and a beingness to the universe. And when I'm reading it, I go, okay, that's all great. I can feel it. I'm one with it. It's good to do. But now process what buttons get pushed inside of you. And that's where you got to keep coming back to the practicality. So that's the secret is basically you want to create more in your life, be more of yourself. And in this one, it helps you to be more of who you are in terms of concepts, conceptual, and then the practicality comes back to Sedona Method.
So actually, I have to say there are practical things that aren't necessarily directly from the Sedona Method, even though they're very similar to what we do. And one of the questions they use, which does help you let go, in my experience in the book, The Greatest Secret, is when you're stuck in something, you identify with it. You're going to get lost in the story of it. But if you actually ask yourself, am I that, or am I that which is aware? In my experience, just asking that, what happens is there's a letting go that happens. There's an opening that happens, and there's a self-recognition that you must be more than your mind. And for most of us, we forget that.
I get it. Ramana Maharshi taught basically, oh, just meditate. Oh, am I that? Is that really who I am? Is that really, I come from, is that really true? Okay.
Right.
But see, you're in an altered state of consciousness. You've devoted your life to this. So all we have to do is read, ask the question, am I that? And it just reminds you, you're not that, you're just that consciousness. But a lot of people haven't been meditating 50 years. And the thought that people are going to have the same experience as you or I have after being big meditators and entrenched in all of this, they're not going to have it as much, but it's a good journey. It's another technique to say, am I really that? Am I that? Personally, for me, I go, is that really who I am? And that's really what you're saying there. Is that who I am?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
So let's go with the practicality of asking, is that really who I am? And realize who you are. Let's just start with the premise, the answer book. Who you are is, if we want to say one answer is God, but universe, goodness, love, generosity, forgiveness, kindness, joy, happiness. Well, so you say that's positive. Anytime you're negative, say, is that who I am? It already give you the answer. No, that's not who you are. No, that's not who you are. We need to just accept, so many people get lost in relationships because they justify their negative emotions. They justify them because that is how you feel. So yes, I'll validate that's how you feel. I can understand that's painful. But if anything causes pain, the content of it is wrong. And nobody wants to look at that they are the problem in their life if they're not feeling good. So feeling good is who you are. And when you're not feeling good, you're not loving, you're not generous, you're not kind, you're not forgiving. You can apologize to that person and say, I'm so sorry that I'm so shut down now and I'm not my true self. You deserve more from me. But what people do in relationships is they always justify why they're negative, and then they get stuck in it. There's the justification of negativity is the cloud in front of the sunshine. Just, is that really who I am? It's such a great question to ask. Yes, I love when you ask it. Is that really who you are? Is that how you say it?
Well, I say it in many ways.
Yes, in many ways.
Yeah, but actually, I'd love to hear you tell us a little bit about, I know you do a technique that's very similar to the Sedona Method. Can you explain your technique a little bit? So for those people who don't know it, because again, this is going to go out to a very broad network of people, including all the people in my network. But I really would love for them to get some practical wisdom from you.
Okay, well, there's 27 books on what I've written about.
I know. I can see your. I can see your bookshelf.
I show off. These are my kids. It's like having pictures of my kids behind me and all these relationship things: dating, sex, intimacy, marriage, single life, all the whole shebang.
Right.
If you don't understand how, and then healing the heart is a lot of what Sedona Method is. A lot of what my practice is. What I do, a part of it. But our good friend Jack Canfield. So Jack took one of my courses back in the day when I taught a course called Healing the Heart. Right. And Healing the Heart was all about, if you're upset, how to process your emotions, similar to what you teach in different technology, but it's go into your feeling, go deeper into your feeling, and it will go away. It's just gone. Right, go into it, let it go. Because you can't let go of something till you know you're holding on to it. And the only way you know you're holding on to it is to feel it. So you feel it, and then you realize this is not me. Well, where'd this come from? And where'd that come from? And where'd that come from? Go deeper and deeper and deeper. and then it disappears. So that's part of how I interpret your method to be and how I relate to it when you were teaching it to me. And I love that technique. So before I go into what I say my process is, it's just how to process emotions. There's many ways to do it. You do one which is beautifully done. Now, before that, Jack was taking my class on healing the heart. This is 35 years ago, right? This is before we were bestsellers.
Right.
Jack and I were the two biggest authors, biggest selling books in the decade of the 90s.
Right.
Men from Mars, Women from Venus. And here we started out in a little support group together, wanting to become best-selling authors. So that's a good evidence of the secret, right? You know,
right.
It's like, do this work. You can make your dreams come true. You can fulfill your destiny. Okay. But Jack told me when he took the class, he says, you know, John, you're really good at, like, when people are upset, it's like, that's their stuff. We'll call that a nice cow patty. You're living in a house and you've got cow patties everywhere. And you step in and you go, oh, cow patty.
right.
To be nice about it. So this is what we are. We go through our life and go, And he said, you know, the reason you have cow patties in your house is because you leave the door open. But if you just learn how to keep your door closed, maybe you won't have so many cow patties to clean up. And I thought about that. And it really made a difference in me because I'm really good at cleaning house. If your heart is covered up, how to open it up. But a lot of times we just keep repeating the same issues over and over because we haven't yet integrated the wisdom that goes behind cleaning up the cow patty. And that's what Men Are From Mars is. That's what my fame is, why people know me, not because of my healing techniques or whatever, because the wisdom of keeping that door closed so you don't get so many cow patties in your house, if we put that example, is in my experience as a counselor, this goes back 50 years, is that so many times women misinterpret men and get triggered and they feel justified in that. For example, if he goes to his cave, men need to rebuild their testosterone levels by detaching. Detachment increases the hormone testosterone. And men need 10 to 20 times more testosterone just to feel good, to open their heart. And if they don't have that testosterone, then their heart closes. They become overreactive. They become claustrophobic. They become defensive. They get angry. All of that defensiveness comes from low testosterone. Now, this is all now scientifically verified. Then I just observed it all. So a man goes to his cave. Women go, oh, he doesn't love me. He doesn't care about me. I must have done something wrong, or he's just not a good guy. Instead of understanding when men feel stressed, they need to pull away. And it's not necessarily about her. But a woman in a relationship, when she pulls away, it's always about him. Okay. She doesn't trust him. He did the wrong thing. I can't talk to him. He doesn't listen to me. He doesn't care about me. Why do I even bother anymore? I'm just going to withdraw. So when women withdraw, it's about him. So when he withdraws, she thinks he's withholding his love to her, when actually he's doing something that men naturally do, which is called detach, which is the basis of meditation, the way Buddha taught it. See, Buddha basically said, I see your thing behind you. What do you call that? It's a
Tanka, yeah.
Yeah, Tanka.
Yeah.
So that's all of meditation is about. Forget your problems, right? Detach. But that's the male side of us. The female side of us, and we all have a male and female side. The female side of us is all about go with the flow, feel your emotions, let it go. And by remembering what's bothering you. So women will want to talk about their feelings. And if they talk about their feelings and somebody listens without denying them, without interrupting them, without making them wrong, it's like a river that's flowing. Instead of a stagnant river, it gets mucky. If you let it flow, it naturally self-purifies, which is a big part of the Sedona Method. Is go with the flow. Go with the flow will naturally self-purify. We are intelligent. Our consciousness is not only loving, but it is intelligent. Yes. And once we let the energy flow, we're not gripping onto our negativity. The consciousness comes forward behind us. That's the real spiritual experience. It comes from behind. And now you've got this 360-degree awareness that literally is intelligent, and it will let go of that negative story you're telling yourself, and you'll be able to come back to what you already knew to be the case, which is you are love, you are intelligent. But people do the stupidest things. we don't know how to lower our stress levels, because what happens is the intelligence is all about right here. It's all about your prefrontal cortex. We could say it's also your pineal gland and so forth, but it's the prefrontal cortex is the only part of your body that's not like a monkey or a dinosaur. That's it. And this, we know this DNA by DNA. Now, certainly it's human, it's organized differently and so forth. It's a more evolved version of monkey, but the DNA is still monkey. The DNA is the fight or flight center is still dinosaur. It's a snake, heartless, cruel. It's like a murderer, a killer, a stealer, doesn't know anything except take, take, take. But that's not who we are. That's just a part of us that comes out when we're out of balance. And this part of us controls us. The higher our stress levels, the higher our fight or flight levels, the more primitive we become. When you connect to the front part of the brain, you have DNA, which is actually unique. It's alien. It's alien from the monkey. Now, and meaning alien, it's not the same. We call that human. The part of us which is human is like this is a Hindu idea. It's like a little guy sitting on an elephant. The elephant is who we are, the mind, the body, all this DNA, which makes up our whole body. It's like a big giant elephant. It just goes along the way it's been conditioned and evolved. And there's this little guy on top who can actually control that elephant if he's in control. But he has to learn how to train the elephant to follow his advice. Now, what's interesting about elephants, just as a fun story, is when an elephant is young, it's a little elephant, you can put something around its neck and put a rock down, and he can't move it because the rock's heavier than him when he's a baby. You put it down. But then once that's done, later in life, this big, huge elephant, you just put something around his neck and put it next to a little rock, and he thinks he can't go. He literally thinks he can't get away.
Yeah, we all are like that elephant in that way.
Yes, we're all like that. We're conditioned. But there is a little guy on top. We have the power if we use our higher intelligence, but we've got to access it. And it then can retrain the elephant. It can recondition us. It can change all of this primitive conditioning that runs us consciously through choice. But when people are in a fight or flight mode, they have no choice. So we have to come back to a place of grace and love and all that. That's our higher self. Now, here's the thing where I focus on these days, which is fun, is hormones. Men need 10, 20 times more hormones. Men need 20 to 30 times more testosterone, for example, to fall in love and be faithful to their wife. Men who are unfaithful always have drops in testosterone, so they need a new woman to boost it up, as opposed to healthy testosterone. Then you stay in love with your partner and you have romance and passion for a lifetime, which is what so many people want, which Bonnie and I have accomplished. Basically 34 years of a passionate marriage. And this is taking the skill of learning how to keep our hormones in balance and to grow in love, because men need those different behaviors, different interactions that will boost his testosterone. So then he can go to his female side and connect with her, which is what sex is. To me, sex is the glory of, as an angel coming down to the planet, we come down just for sex. Okay, to love, to bring love into the physical body. There's nothing more profound than that. And yet not everybody can get there. People just have sex and feel depleted afterwards because they don't know how to do it. And they also don't have their soul open to them when they do it. But the bottom line here is women, on the other hand, need female hormones, not testosterone. Testosterone lowers female hormones. Female hormones are estrogen and progesterone and oxytocin. And those hormones allow women to lower their stress level. That's why if you talk about problems, and somebody empathizes with you, you're sharing and depending on them to give you validation and understanding and empathy and all of that, that raises your estrogen. And for a woman, whenever she's stressed and she can't access the front part of the brain, she's producing stress hormones, and she produces stress hormones when her estrogen levels are too low. Men produce stress hormones when their testosterone levels are too low. So we had, back in the day when men and women were very different. Now today we have access to both our male and female sides, and our
much
challenge,
more, yeah.
Our challenge today, if you're a man, is not to get lost on the female side. A lot of men are addicted. Addiction, the female side of us, if you look at what generates estrogen, it's feeling dependent on something to be happy. I need my children to be happy. I need my husband to be happy. I need nature to be happy. She depends, and we all have dependence inside of us, and we have independence. Independence is producing masculine hormones. So when you feel like, yeah, I got to do it myself, I got to solve problems, I got to fix it, it's up to me, I have to do it. That's a great thing for men. Their testosterone goes up. And for women, a great thing is to feel like I don't have to do it all myself. If you just listen to women, you see this dynamic. You don't have to measure their hormones. They say there's not enough time. That means I have to do it myself. There's not enough love. Oh, I have to do it myself. Everything is I have to do myself. There's so much to do. That feeling of have to pervades right now the female population. And for men, what pervades us when we're not happy and fulfilled is this dependence on playing games, internet porn, watching TV, where happiness needs to come from a man is generated within when I do work, when I make a difference, when I'm in service, when I practice meditation, for example, is a recovery to rebuild my testosterone so I can go out and do something to help the world. And, I was a yogi for 9 years. Even then, I felt like I was purifying collective consciousness through my efforts, but it wasn't a piece of cake. I used to sleep on the floor and just to toughen up, because toughness is a part of masculinity, not just everything being so soft. That's my challenge even now, with so much success in my life. I don't have to work. I don't have to do anything. I got so much money. I can't believe it. So what do? That's a motivation. When you have money, when you don't have money, it's a motivator to get out there and do something. But as a man, you see so many men who do well in life, they become fat, they become unmotivated, they get heart attacks, they retire, they give up, they lose their juice. They get too far on their female side, as opposed to feeling the goodness that comes inside, and then by being selfless and service to others. So these are like some of the challenges that come up for people as we experience our lives, to understand for men, if you're stressed, if you're not feeling loving, if you're not feeling motivated, if you're not feeling selfless, if you don't feel good, that's a story that you need to go, that's not me. And how do you come back to me in a practical sense is do some practice or do something that's going to raise your testosterone. And even though your practice, Sedona practice, is about going to your female side, your feeling side, your estrogen side, you're not just whining and complaining. You have an intention to go in there and understand. You're a researcher. You're going into your feelings. You're studying them to let them go. And you're telling yourself, this is not me. That's a detachment, by the way.
Yeah,
that's pure
totally.
masculine energy. This is not me, but it's inside of me. And who is it, by the way, with compassion, understanding? It is the programming. It's the programming of the monkey combined with the divine child inside. It's an innocent, beautiful little being that's getting congested by all of this monkey consciousness of humanity. That's right. So we get all mad and we get all upset because that's the only programming we can work through.
Right. So
I thought I would stop for a moment.
You took a breath. That's amazing. Have some water, relax for a minute.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in. I try to squeeze it.
So let's unpack it a little bit. So first off, I do agree that both men and women have their tendencies to respond in a particular way. And so you can, to some degree, you can control, well, to a large degree, you can control the externals by changing what you're doing or not doing. But what are some of the things that you recommend people do internally to change their relationship to the way their life is? Because in my experience in life, sometimes it's a simple fix. You just change this and change that and you feel a lot better, and that's great. But in my experience, sometimes we're in situations, not just in certainly in relationships, but in other situations too, in work, family, with our money, all these other situations where we may be in a position where we can't actually, again, you and I are different because we have everything. But most people have to do certain things. So what can they do that will support them when it seems like there isn't an external fix?
You can't change anybody, first of all. I'm going to focus on relationships for a moment and then apply that to the whole world.
Sure.
You can't change anything. Everything's going to come at you as a reflection of who you are. And that's the secret. What releases you is more understanding of the story you're telling yourself. That's the secret behind the secret, or what is it, the greatest secret? Okay.
Right.
What's the name of the book we're talking about?
Oh, well, The Greatest Secret, yes.
Okay, and you're in it, and you're a star in it. You deserve to be the star in it because you have practicality in there. It's great to go into the lofty oh, all of the spirituality and you can go into esoteric ideas. I live that stuff, but that's not what makes you money. That's not what creates great sex. That's not what allows you to love your children. It's not what allows you to be healthy in your body, to work out, feel vital, to not age like everybody else is aging. I go to the reunions from high school.
Yeah. Oh my
Most of
God,
them,
that must be
most of them,
scary.
it's amazing. They got to, am I his son? People don't, they go, who are you? And they're all like aging and old, where's the vitality? It's gone because they didn't understand spirituality as a foundation and then apply it. Now,
Yeah.
application is another aspect of it to really integrate it into your body. So I covered one point there and you took something out. You want to unpack it. Let's unpack one little point. And I still haven't
Sure.
answered
Anything
your
you want.
question. No, I love how you unpack. It's like when I say you have to do something. All right. When I get up in the morning, I won't get up in the morning unless I feel I have to do it. I have to do it is what motivates men. When you feel I have to do it, you're activating testosterone. Now, testosterone can inhibit estrogen production very easily. You go over to your male side. Now you don't get to do something I enjoy doing. I love to do. I get to do this. See this right now? I love doing this, Hale. I love connecting with you. We talk, the friendships, do my work. I enjoy it. I don't have to do it, but I do have to do it because I said I would do it. And my purpose in life is to make a difference. And I'm sitting here in a gold mine of information, and I'd be really stingy if I didn't share that information.
Go for it.
I have to do it. If I didn't do it, I would be depressed. That's another reason I have to do it. I'm a slave to my destiny and my purpose. If you're not doing your destiny and purpose, you will suffer. But that's my male side. I have to do this. My female side, anything you want to talk about is female side, is I get to do this. I enjoy doing this. I like to do this. I want to do this. My goodness, I'm so grateful I have this opportunity to do this. Right. So what women can do, know that whenever women are stressed, they're into the I have to play. I have to do this. I have to do this. That's just the world they're living in now, because we've risen. Everybody in the new age talks about ascension, right? They're all looking for ascension. It already happened back in the 60s. Are you kidding? Ascension means you're no longer limited to stereotypical male roles, female roles. You can be anything you want. You see, you can have the consciousness. I was a hippie. I had long hair, I had beads, I had bell-bottom pants. I was kicked out of school. I was rebellious. I demonstrated against Vietnam, the whole thing. That's not what men do. Men step in line, they're going to go to war and be proud of it, and they're going to look sharp. Right. They're not going to grow their hair out and be like a girl. They're not going to have fun. They're not going to have free sex. They're going to get married before they have sex. All these rules that had to do with masculinity in the 60s, we broke out. We said, hey, we're going to do something different. That's men going to their female side, doing what you love to do what you like to do, what's enjoyable for you to do, not constricted to these tight male roles. Women, on the other hand, well, we're all having a good time being hippies. I'm talking about my friends and who I was at that time. And a lot of the culture was that, rebelling against war, wanting peace. This is like big stuff. And the women were busy. Some of them were supporting that whole idea, but they're having women's groups, feminism. We're going to run the world. We're going to make the world a better place. We're going to be the CEOs. There's a glass ceiling. We're going to get through it. And so they're over their male side. And that's because they were now free to go from their female side to their male side and back. Men can go to their female side, their male side back. We can access these parts of who we are. Why? Because when we're in the pineal gland or the prefrontal cortex, we have access to our higher self, to our spiritual self. Our spiritual self is not male or female. It's both. It's the yin and the yang. It's the masculine energy and the feminine energy. It's the two complementary or opposing forces, how you look at it, that make up the universe, night and day, hot and cold, everything. It's relativity. So this is a higher self, is both, and they're blended together. And our job here on this planet is to blend them into our life as well. And particularly once you have ascended to this higher consciousness that has access to masculine, access to feminine. The problem here is our purpose is to integrate soul and spirit into this physical body. And this physical body as a man requires way more testosterone than a woman, period. Biologically, look at any study. If a woman is unhappy, she's got too much testosterone or she's making too much testosterone and not making enough estrogen in her life, not making enough progesterone in her life, not making enough oxytocin in her life. And what's the symptom of that? Always it's caused cortisol. It's a cortisol reaction. It's chronic stress. And that's hormonal imbalance. So today, everybody's talking about hormones, particularly for women and men. Men have lower testosterone as they get older. I'm almost 70 years old this year, and my testosterone is 50% higher than it was when I was a young man. It's an illusion that men's testosterone goes down at 35. It's that we don't know how to focus our attention. For example, a practical thing, a woman, when she feels I have to, she has low estrogen, high testosterone in that moment. All she has to do is take a moment and go, well, okay, I have to go pick up my kids from school. Then say to yourself, why do I have to pick up my kids from school? Why do I want to pick up my kids from school? Because I love my children. I care about my children. And this is the joy of my life as my children. Therefore, I want to go pick up my kids. It's a mental adjustment that you make when you realize I'm out of balance. Let me come back to my balance, come back to my feminine side, remind myself, who am I? And what women have to do is remind themselves that they're women and they need women hormones. Otherwise, they're stressed out. Do I have to do all these things? Actually, you don't, but I have to do it. Why do I have to do it? Because I love my family. I care about my family. I care about this. But the truth is, if you look at the reality that people create, once we feel I don't have enough, then we create a reality to justify that. That's what we're all doing. We're proving our negative emotions to be right. We're telling a story. I have a right to feel overwhelmed. I have a right to be unhappy. I have a right. No, you don't. You
Yeah,
can.
it's funny to watch people fight for their right to suffer.
That's right.
No,
I love it, Hal. I love it. Thank you. They fight for their right to suffer. I just gave a talk today called Addicted to Victim. Did you know that when people are feeling victim, which is all negative emotions are victim,
Right.
Anger is a victim of others. Sadness is a victim of what's happened, what didn't happen. Fear is a victim of what might happen in the future. And guilt is a victim of you.
Right, yourself.
Of yourself,
Right,
so we're all like victim consciousness. What turns out that whenever you're feeling those victim feelings, your cortisol levels are up and you're disconnected from who you are. So that is not who you are. And you need to recognize that anytime you're having negative emotions, you ask yourself, is this who I am? No, I need to get back to who I am. And part of how I need to get back to back to where I am is learn to correctly interpret reality. But right now you're stuck right now the elephant's controlling you. So that's where Sedona Method comes in. And for my method, it started in 1984 when I wrote my book, What You Feel, You Can Heal. Right. And when you learn to go into your feelings, never resist your feelings. But here's the key. Don't use negative feelings to change the world. Don't use negative feelings to change your partner. Don't use your negative feelings to motivate you to make changes in your life. Never make changes.
Yeah, because you're using your negative feelings as a club. And but you don't realize when you're doing that, you're going like this. You're hitting yourself.
And when you use negative feelings, you're verifying the reality that you're a victim, You're also growing pathways in your brain. Neural pathways are growing in your brain so that if you use, this is the real big thing. If I'm using my negative emotions to get you to change, like guilting you or being angry with you or guilting myself to change, if I'm using negative emotions to change, or if I use fear to keep me from doing things, I'm using it to justify not doing something. Whenever negative emotions control your behavior to get what you want, pathways grow in your brain. Neurons that fire together grow together. This is the Nobel Prize about the brain being plastic. We're constantly rewiring our brains. And when you use negativity to get what you want, then every time you want more, meaning you're not feeling happy, your brain looks for some negativity to justify using it to get what you want.
Right. So it's a loop.
To move. So basically, you're actually growing grooves in your brain, deep like the Grand Canyon, to go, okay, what can I be negative about? What can I be negative about? And if people doubt that, just listen to your thinking. Oh, this problem, this problem, this problem. We're constantly thinking negative things as opposed to constantly thinking positive things. I rarely have negative thoughts. I do sometimes, and then I process it. Everything is a matter of learning to process. Now, how to process, we have Sedona Method, great process. What I teach in my very simple book, What You Feel, You Can Heal, a 2-hour book, cartoons. It was before I knew I could write books. I knew I could draw cartoons. I didn't even know I could draw cartoons until I said I have to do it. So, but anyway, it's a cartoon book, very easy and text, but it's humorous, it's playful. And it teaches anything you can learn from 5 years of psychology in 2 hours. Okay. And what it teaches you is that your past affects you now. Anytime you're upset, 99% of what you're upset about is it's just this triggers something from my past. Who we are as growing adults is accumulation of trauma, which we press down to various degrees. And then your partner looks at you with a look of disapproval or tells you what to do or doesn't appreciate what you did or interrupts what you're saying. And you go, oh, you don't love me. No, that has nothing to do with your partner. It triggers feelings that you're unconsciously storing in your body from a year from your childhood where you felt unloved. And you don't even know that you felt unloved. Some people do know. Most people don't even know. But here's how it looks. Let me give you a little primer. This is such a simple book. When we come into this world, we are divine children. We all are. We all come from heaven. Most people don't know that, but we do. We have experienced it. But coming into this world from heaven, and we're just full of light and love, but we have no ability to know ourselves because we can only know ourselves. Spirit knows itself in this body through this brain, which is still developing. So we come into this world with one experience. Experience gives us belief. So I come into this world and everybody's so happy to see me. Oh, I make everybody happy. You know, it's just joy around me. And babies, particularly, they make the mother just loves that baby. And part of why the mother loves the baby is that the baby's looking at mom like, you're so important. Everybody wants to be important.
Right.
So you're safe and secure. So we come into this world, little babies, full of light and love, and everybody begins to resonate with that and they feel happy. Then they go out of our space and they have their reasons why they're unhappy in their life. And the little baby goes, why is everybody unhappy? What did I do wrong?
Right.
Mom and dad get a divorce. What did I do wrong? And the baby goes, I don't know. I don't know. So later in life, we go, why did that man ghost me? You know, why can't I make more money? Why can't I do this? I don't understand. That I don't understand is right down to when you're 3 years old or a baby on your first day of life. This is deep stuff. And what we can do is realize anything that upsets us, we think this upset me, and this is a problem. I have no money, or my wife left me, or whatever might be the problem. These are real problems, but how you react to it is the way a baby would, is you feel like, I don't know, why did this happen? It wasn't me, it must be you. And we go into denial of our responsibility for everything that we create in our lives because it's too painful to feel that it's our fault. So to avoid feeling it's our fault, we want to project that on other people. And so we live in a world of blame, which brings up crazy emotions. Then those emotions come up and they're too painful. So then we go and we overeat because that will burn off that energy and go into denial. Or we go into dangerous situations. Actually, if you do dangerous things, it will also repress your emotions from the childhood. It produces dopamine, which has the effect of cutting us off from our childhood feelings. But as we start to relax in relationships, the dopamine levels start to go down as the serotonin levels go up. You want to find a balance, but as peacefulness comes in, that's serotonin, then what happens is neural connectors start coming together and issues that we haven't dealt with from our past will come up. So the first thing is everything is a trigger. Therefore, take responsibility for what you feel. Don't push it down. Look at it. And as you look at it, recognize that to let go of an emotion, negativity, you have to have the insight. I'm doing this in order to let it go. And so I'm not going to act on it. I'm not using it to change someone. I'm loving myself by listening to this little divine child who's afraid. So it might be fear. Whatever your first emotion is, that's just the surface. So start with where you are. And there's a structure that I look at, which is 4 tones of emotion. One is resistance or anger, frustration, outrage. That's resistance. We might call that a red emotion. So you got a red one. Then you have blue. And blue is, when you're feeling blue, you're down. That would be sadness. That would be disappointment. That would be hurt. Which then leads to depression and down feelings. That's feeling blue. It's a cloudy day. There's no sunshine. So what you've just looked at is one emotion. The primitive brain goes into anger. It goes into sadness. Now, why are those emotions painful? If they're painful, if they're not painful, they disappear right away. But it's when they're painful, we're intense. Why are you upset about something that happened or didn't happen? What happened is anger. What didn't happen is sadness. Why is that upsetting to you? So what? Because it triggers another part of you, which is afraid. Well, if you don't love me, I'll never get love. Okay, so now you have fear. If you don't have fear, then you never get angry. Nothing bothers you because you feel like, oh, I didn't get it here. I'll just get it here. Of course, I'm going to get what I need. So fear. I know here's an interesting thing. People go, oh, are you saying to let go of all fear? I say all fear is a fake story. What is it? False evidence appearing real, FEAR, false evidence appearing real. People, but no, fear is really important. No, it's not, except that it helps you to realize the false evidence that you have in your life, how you're misinterpreting life. Don't buy into that story. And people, one of my friends, he's a philosopher like me, he says, no, you have to have fear as well to make choices and decisions to keep you from doing stuff. I say, okay, look, there's a cliff. You think I need fear to get me to not jump off the cliff? How about just wisdom? How about knowing that if you jump off, you'll die? And do you need anger to be motivated? No, I don't need anger to be motivated. Some people do. They get motivated when they're angry, but then they do the wrong stuff. How about just being in touch with wisdom? Wisdom motivates you. If there's a problem, solutions come up. So we don't need negative emotions to make our lives better, but we need negative emotions in order to come back to who we truly are, because they're symptoms of when we're not seeing the world correctly. So go from anger to sadness to fear, and then go to guilt. Now, guilt's a tough one for someone who feels like a victim because they always feel like they're not guilty. It's somebody else's fault. Now we have a good logical reason. Logic and intuition. Logic says, well, if you're not feeling loving, you're not very loving. You should be apologizing for not loving. And so you need to get that if there's a squabble, if there's a fight, if there's a terrible thing that happens, you go through anger, sadness, fear, and then get down to the guilt. And you can then, once you see that helps what's called catharsis. Okay. That's called Gestalt. It's a German word. It was the basis of Gestalt therapy, but it wasn't as clear as what I'm pointing out, is that anytime there's a stress, think of a stress like a ball. It has four sides to it. You have to look at it from this side, this side, this side, and this side. When the brain, which is intelligent, can see all four quadrants of what happened, that's your anger. What didn't happen, that's your disappointment, sadness. What could happen, that's your fear. And what you could have done to make it different, that's your guilt or regret. Those are four perspectives. So you look at something from the four sides, you start to see the complete truth. That's still not the complete truth. Then you have to look from underneath. What is it that you were wanting? Because getting in touch with what you want is before the negative emotions.
Yes.
So every negative emotion is actually, I don't like, I don't want, I don't need, and I shouldn't. There's a place of motivation behind it. And the negative emotion is stopping the motivation of the true self, the loving self, to give love. An example. I love my partner. I'm so happy. She loves me. I love her. And then one day she disapproves of me and doesn't appreciate me. And so I go, well, I don't appreciate you back. That's called ping pong. That's what couples do all day long.
Right,
they argue back and forth, back and forth. Well, you didn't do this, but you didn't do that. Well, you said this, but you didn't say that. So we always go back and forth. We're just like monkeys. Monkey see, monkey do. We react to everything. We have to see through that. And then what you do is you have negative emotions. When you can have the space to embrace them, they will naturally flow one to the other if you're looking for it. Some people, if you just feel anger, you might get stuck in anger. Or if you're just feeling sad, you could get stuck in sad. Whenever you're stuck in a negative emotion, you need to look for one of the other colors. The yellow emotion is fear and dark is guilt. Okay. So, and what's interesting, if you look at those blue, red, and yellow, I back in the day when we used to have big screens, there were these three little lights behind it. And the light would go through those three colors of red, yellow, and blue, and on a black screen. And from those four basic aspects, you could generate infinite number of colors.
Right.
Everything on the screen, but all it makes up. So we're going down to the primal level of human beings for the brain to process any upset. You could be feeling depressed, jealous, all these other emotional states that people get stuck in. They're all made out of those three colors. So bring it back to look for what you're angry about, what you're sad about, what you're afraid about, what you feel guilty about. And when you can feel all four, a gestalt takes place, and then you can clearly experience what you truly want, your soul's desire. And when you have a soul's desire, you want to love. And everything you want from your soul will come true. And the confidence and the wisdom of how to get there doesn't happen right away. It takes time to change the outer reality just by wanting it from a place of I'm aligned with the divine. And the divine is making everything happen anyway. So now you're aligned with the river and how it's all unfolding, and it all tends to be what you want. So you get these synchronicities. You think, I want to talk to so-and-so, and they're on the phone, they're calling you. You think, I want this, make more money on this, and bang, some opportunity comes up and you go, that's the one for me. But if you're not in touch with your soul, you get an opportunity here, you go, I don't want to do that. I want to do this one over here, which is guaranteed to lose all my money.
Right.
So once you get under it, you've got the 4 quadrants, and you go under it. What is it I want? What did I wish? What is I need? Then what you have is you bring in the higher self, the higher thing, which is insight, understanding, wisdom, love, forgiveness, and empathy. All those positive things come down on you after you go around and under. And that's a simple process. I call it the feeling letter exercise. And I think it's really powerful to write those things out. So you sort of get it out of you, so to speak, but not yell it out of you. Just write down, I'm angry about, I'm sad about, I'm afraid about, I'm sorry for, I wish, I want, I need. You come back to that and you might feel more understanding and love right away. But even to make it better, you then write another letter to yourself. Let's say you're writing this letter to God, or you're writing it to your partner, you're writing it to someone who upset you. And basically you write the letter to them, and you never give it to them. That would be using negativity to change others. You're just using it awareness to let it go. Then you write a letter back to yourself. That's called the response letter, which is imagining that person hearing, validating your anger, validating your sadness, validating your fear, just like a loving parent would do. I understand you're frustrated. I know it's tough for you. I know you're afraid. And you basically validate through empathy and understanding all of those emotions, and then have that parent say, and I just want you to know, it's my fault. It's not your fault. You were innocent. You deserve my love. Please forgive me. And this is the beautiful thing. When you can imagine a parent saying, please forgive me, after they've just heard all your feelings, automatically you become a master of forgiveness. Of course, mommy, I forgive you. Of course, daddy, I forgive you. You see, part of why people can't forgive themselves is their parents never took responsibility for being lousy parents. It's just whenever the parents are arguing or fighting and not giving the child what the child needs, instead of apologizing to the child thinks it's their fault. And unless someone says to that child, it's just learning about the world. It's not your fault. It's my fault. And I'm now happy again. It's not your job. You don't have to do that. You don't have to make me happy. My job as a parent is to make you happy and provide the support that you need. Now, practically speaking, my job isn't to be their best friend. My job is to be their parent. So I have to set boundaries and so forth. But the reality is parents need to just psychologically, if a parent is not feeling victimized, that child will not feel like a victim in life. Children absorb everything. And now we know scientifically that for the first 7 years of life, the brain focus is in a theta vibration, a theta frequency, which is a state of hypnosis. So everything we learn, everything about our parents, whether they say it or they don't, we absorb it all. And we have their issues, and they have their parents' issues, and they have their parents' issues. Oh, guess we're back to gorillas again. And that's why if we're stressed enough, we go into that gorilla state. And practically speaking, when we understand gender differences, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, we understand that if we're feeling stressed and you're a man, there's things you need to do that will increase your testosterone. For example, for me, when Bonnie used to upset me, I could just get in my car and go drive. Driving is a major testosterone producer. I'd also meditate, which would be able to forget my problems temporarily, come back to feeling at peace and love, then come out of my meditation, reflect on what bothered me, and realize that, yeah, she did a lot of stuff that I prefer she not do, but how did I contribute to that? And my job is not to go and try to change her. My job is to come back with more love. That's a wonderful process.
Yes, that's beautiful. Thank you for describing that whole thing. And
the third part of it, let me mention this.
Oh, sure.
Step one, express the feelings back to what you want. Then the second level is write the response letter to you. Then you imagine, use your imagination. Because remember, you're always imagining things to be worse than they are. You're always.
Totally. Yeah.
That's our thing. We make a big deal out of everything. We're imagining it to be worse than it is. And yes, you can tell me all the reasons why it's worse. And I go, yeah, but it doesn't mean you can't be happy. So having said that, we imagine this, having this parent who gives you this stuff, or this partner who says all these wonderful things to you. How would that make you feel? And now you're back to who you truly are. Yeah, well, if I imagine everyone's giving me what I want, I go, well, how does it make me feel? I feel safe. I feel happy. I feel confident. I feel worthy. I feel good enough. I feel motivated. I'm glad to be here. I love my parents so much, or I love my partner so much. I forgive them for all their foibles. We're all imperfect. I don't have to be perfect. I can relax. I can have a good time. I'm here to make a difference in the world. I'm in the right place at the right time and have all the support I need. And in metaphysical terms, I've got all God's angels supporting what I do. I took that line from Oprah. She once said, I act like I got to do it myself, but I feel like I've got all God's angels supporting me. And what's beautiful about that, the secret of her success is right there. I got to do it myself as her male side, but I've got all God's angels supporting me as your female side. It's feeling I have what I need and I'm here to do my job.
That's perfect. That's a good balance. So you summarized a lot of material in just a few minutes. Wow.
I Zoom.
What's that? Oh, right.
I Zoom.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I made a lot of money in the Zoom stock. Boy, did it zoom up.
Yeah.
Well, then I lost a lot of money when it zoomed down. So I didn't fret. I got out of it, lost a lot of money and put it in something else and zoom back up. That's right. Life. Life knocks us down. We just want to let it go, move on to a new stock, go to the better one and get higher.
Right. That's what I've always loved about listening to, John. I remember at the TLC meetings, we would get together and not everybody went to everyone else's talks, but if you were talking, everybody packed the room because you're just so full of information and you're also so entertaining the way you deliver it. Because, you packed a tremendous amount of information. So I highly recommend everyone who's listening to this, you might want to listen to this a few more times because I'm sure there are things that John covered that you probably didn't hear on the first pass. But at any rate, just to finish it off, if there would be just one thing that you'd like to leave people with to help them live their life more fully and more heart-centered, in a more heart-centered, open way, and enjoy life more fully, what would that be? What would you say to them?
We need to resonate with people who have gone the path before us. I think about the Sedona Method. I know that you've dedicated your life to this. And if I wanted to learn how to feel my authentic self and let it go, I want to have you teach me and guide me. If somebody wants a better relationship, find somebody with a really great relationship with a super sex life who's proven their salt. They've done it. Resonate with them. Maybe they don't have everything that's right for you, but I would never take lessons from somebody who's not a master of what I want to master.
Right.
Find someone who's done this. And what you have is your beautiful Sedona process. If people are drawn to that, that is a magnificent practical thing. And all the good ideas and the other books that you're talking about, the philosophical things, but it really all comes down to what you said is one of the gifts of that book that you're just talking about. The greatest secret is question yourself. And it's from my side, I question everything. If it's not loving, it's not me. And by doing that, the me comes forth even more because you lose who you are when you think you're something other than who you are. Mm-hmm. I'll say that again. You lose who you are. Who I am is right here. I'm the universe right now. It's God. It's oneness with everything. I lose knowing that I'm that. And it's not even knowing that I'm that. It's being that. It's not knowing that. The mind knows that, but the mind only knows itself. And being that feels very different from knowing that. Okay. But that's the mind. The mind knows something good has happened for sure when I go to that place or I come from that place. But it's to realize your negative stories is not reality. If you can just walk away going, now I don't know how to get through this. I need somebody who knows how to do it. But you asked me to say one thing is to realize you don't have to be trapped in your negative story. And there's practical tools that you practice, just like anything you want to learn. You want to learn a language, play a guitar, anything. You've got to practice. And the only way you can practice, you got to have something to work with. And what you work with is all of the things in your life that upset you. They trigger what you can now work with. It's your stuff, the things you've stuffed down. And every time you go through a wave of something upsets you and bothers you, you go, okay, it's keeping me from being my true self if I'm not loving. How do I process what's inside and then come back to a place of love and authenticity? So don't buy into the lies. And when you're watching TV today, don't buy into the mass hysteria of this country which is freaking out and all this badness. It's magnification. Everything is bigger than it is. And if you're a woman and you want to ask your husband to do something, here's a secret. Say to them, honey, you forgot to give me a call the other day. And I know many times you do call me, but the other day you forgot to call me. And I was looking forward to knowing what's going on. And sometimes you call, sometimes you don't. It's not a big deal, but it really makes me happy when you give me a call. Do you see how nice that is, as opposed to a phrase like, why didn't you call? You never call. I got so upset we are, rather than focus on the negative, use positive messages all the time. But I would suggest, as a practical tip for anybody listening to this, for 30 days, do not verbalize a negative emotion in any way to get what you want. Not even to say, oh, my back's hurting today. Now you're looking for sympathy.
Right.
Another wonderful concept from Buddhism is compassion rather than sympathy. See, we have two choices. A wonderful gift is empathy. That's where you feel what somebody's going through. We all need that connection. But how do you connect with me? Do you connect with me by feeling sorry for me? Sympathy? That just reinforces my own powerlessness. Connect with me through compassion, which is, I know what you're going through, and secretly I know inside it's helping you to grow. I don't feel sorry for you, but I feel your pain.
Perfect. I hope you enjoyed our time with John Gray. I loved John Gray's energy and his insights into a wide array of topics we discussed. I encourage you to get his book, Beyond Mars and Venus, where he explains why being a man or a woman in today's society is more nuanced and complex than ever. You can learn more on his website, marsvenus.com. That's marsvenus.com. If you've enjoyed these podcasts, please subscribe so you have immediate access to future episodes. Please give us a 5-star rating and share it with the people you care about. If you'd like to learn more about my work, my mentor Lester Levinson's work, and the Sedona Method, please visit sedona.com. As you explore our site, you learn the key to lasting happiness, success, peace, and emotional well-being. We have books, courses, events, and plenty of free material to explore. And again, go to sedona.com. That's sedona.com. Thank you for being here, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Letting Go and the Greatest Secret.